Oh, dear, 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 dear. Let's get going, shall we? Well, I feel like it, because I feel like death warmed up. I dare say I might even have a bit of man flu. And that's what happens when you stop. You just feel like, ugh. But there we go. These lions are not good for my health. I had to sleep in until about 7, and then I couldn't get out of bed. But we'll get there. I'm sure it'll be fine if I'm half an hour late, as I am the customer in this instance. You know, they can just deal with it. Oh dear. Oh, my head's pounding like a drum. I wouldn't mind, but I haven't had anything to drink. Anyway, see you there. Right. Oh dear. Yeah, we'll get into there. They've got like a tea and coffee machine in there, so we'll get ourselves a nice cup of tea and have a sit down. And then once they've done whatever it is they need to do, we will get going. We'll go let the dogs out. We'll ring around all of our jobs that are sort of floating, see if there's any that we can get in to do, because anything we do today is something we don't have to do tomorrow. So we'll do that, and then if we can't do that, like I say, tidy the van and get it ship shape, because then the new year will roll around and I can really hit the ground running, because I think the furthest booking I've taken is in April, but then like it's quite spaced out at the moment in terms of what I've got booked in and like the sort of work that I'm doing. I've got some installs, I've got a lot of smaller stuff. I think it's what I'm becoming known for, is just smaller jobs, which is okay. I think a lot of people don't like to do the smaller install and the smaller works, because it's not worth it to them. But I mean, if I clear 4 or 5 jobs in a day, then I'm laughing, really. I mean, you know, if you plan your route out right, so you're driving to one job and then to the next job and to the next job, that's the way to be. I don't understand why people don't do that. It's like the other day I started off in Leighton Buzzard. I wasn't filming that day, but started off in Leighton Buzzard, worked my way up to Bletchley was the next job. Then the next job was in Woburn. Then the last job of the day was in New Bradwell. So it's sort of like I was moving the right way all the time, as such. It's if you don't organise it and you're going in opposite directions and you don't have what you need with you, it's very essential to do all the prep work beforehand, so you just have everything you need. It's on the van, and you just drive to one, to the next, to the next, to the next. You know, if you needed to, you could do a supply run in the morning, but that should be it. That's how you make money on the smaller jobs. So, we got done at Brian Curry's quicker than expected. and they were very good. They actually had to fit a part to it, which is a little bit surprising. So I don't know if my paperwork's been mixed up with somebody else's, but they fitted a small sensor when originally they told me they had to have it in for a software update, which was going to take all day. So I don't know, perhaps somebody who's a bit more schooled up on this sort of thing, I don't know if the software was going to be updated to compensate for a part not functioning properly, or whether they then looked at it and said, well, if we would just replace this part, there's no need to augment the software in a different way in the van. This is the problem when things get too complicated. I don't know if it's if it's necessarily a good thing, because if the end user, I think if the end user of a product doesn't fully understand how it works, like, yes, I know how a diesel engine works. I know I like to consider myself quite an educated consumer, but the computer system in this van they were showing me is very, very, very complex. It's got more computing power in it than my iPad probably has, which surprised me. The computer in this has something like 8 gigabytes of RAM or something insane, and it apparently has a lot to do with the engine system in it, which I suppose makes sense. But so it is what it is, and so there's quite a lot going on. It's not just a case of because I was considering having a look at what they were doing myself, and because once this comes to the end of its warranty, it's going to be an expensive van to keep, and so I'm going to have to start training now if I want to be able to at least be able to service this properly. And I'm also going to have to get tooled up with the software to do it. So it's sort of, I don't know if it's like that, so it's engineered so I keep just having a new van every 3 years, which is one way to go, and that's another thing I'm thinking about, or whether we get so kosher with the operating system of this van that it we can sort of sort it. That, or I've got to marry a mechanic. Something like that, because I mean they were showing me all this computerized stuff. It's a shame I couldn't film it, but I don't want to be weird. And it is it's very interesting to me, at least anyway. I think these videos are going to be a lot of, oh, this is very interesting, because really we're not doing a lot. We're just organising stuff and trying to get everything. The van looks very tidy when you empty everything out of it, but the trick is to put it back in and have it still be tidy. And we're going to do a little bit of reorganisation now, because originally I had just one big bag for the soldering stuff. But then I decided I'd have a whinge about how heavy and unruly this bag was, so now I decided to put my soldering stuff in that bag and have my other stuff in another bag, which was very kindly provided to me by Lindsay Plumbing. They did me a very good deal, and this is a very good bag. It's very big, sturdy, it's got rubber bunding inside it, so it's waterproof, and it is, to its credit, a very good bag, and this is the right size for a pipe bender and all the other particulars that I use. However, it's too much of a complexity, and also I can't fit the tray in there. The tray is this tray and this fire blanket is like the backbone of being able to do works indoors as such. Also, this tray is covered with like flux and water, because my fluctuator broke in half. You know how they say, oh yeah, it's so sturdy on the reviews? The damn thing broke clean in half. I'll try and dig it out. We'll get some blue roll and wipe this thing off. So the bag underneath there is going to become the sort of door kicker, blow the house up, strip out, bag. It's not really very legible, but I'll know what it is. This is good flux, by the way. I did enjoy using this flux, but I want to get into the fluctuator system for next year, just because I think it's the way of the future. I mean, I did just complain about how my fluctuator broke in half, but to be fair, it was the first prototype that they sent out. It wasn't even the one they sold. The Lindsay Plumbing, they let me have the one that's on like the thing, to like advertise it. And apparently that's like what they did with all their prototype ones. They just put them on little cards and say, oh, you know, this is what it is. And then you can see how this has failed. This is just snapped straight down the middle at some point, but that's what it's like. And also, funny thing, if you had the old style 15mm one, right, like this, you can actually put a 22mm pipe in it and flux it up. But I don't have one here. But you can do that quite easily, and it really doesn't matter. Alright, let's get that sorted. Let's just get, yeah, I think what we need to do is focus on getting rid of the rubbish, and then we can worry about the rest later. Yeah, so I can get our olive colour on there, take that straight off, if I can find the bloody thing. There it is, it's in there. See, look, I've got scouring pads in my tool bag. What's that about? They're not supposed to be there. I need that. Only suckers turn the olive colour by hand. That and smart people who don't want to rupture their pipes, but I'll show you this. This is a good bit of kit, everybody. If you haven't got one of these, prepare to have your mind blown. So this has got a hex end, goes in your rattle gun like so. Ta-da! Then you've got a stupid bit of pipe that you can't get the thing off. Push it on the end. Obviously, if this is in a tight space, you might not be able to do it this way, but if you can get the impact gun on it, get the impact gun on it, because you'll see in a minute how quickly this will remove a really stubborn nut. Then you hold on to just the compression nut like so. Whoop, whoop. And pull the trigger. Try and show you it from the side. Is that, what's that amount on? Number 2 we want. That's it. That's literally it. And obviously you have to undo the nut from the end. Now the only thing I find with this sometimes, it's pulled the pipe, it's pulled the olive off fairly clean, but if the olive is really squeezed on, and it's like at the point where it's smaller than the pipe in front of it, when you put that on full power, it'll actually crush the pipe down to like a smaller size than it originally was, pulling that olive off. But, like I say, I've not become unstuck with it yet, and it is a very quick way of doing it, but something to be aware of, that if you're using an impact driver, just as they can fuck up and break up screws, they can also fuck up and break up pipes. You saw it there where I had it on number 1 setting and then I turned it to number 2. It might be something to think about. Then yeah, you put it all back together. Ooh. Get your fingers chewed off by it. Jesus Christ, why is that doing that? Righty, we are off. I got the van somewhat organised, but now we are off to have a look at this basin waste, and I've got to try and find... Got my poly washer, but I can't find the basin waste that's in there, but I know it's in here. I know. So, we shall go and neutralise that problem. And I'm fairly sure it's actually on the same street as where we were last night as well, but the tenant didn't get in till late, so that's why obviously we didn't go back there last night, because she didn't know. Anyway, I'm going to ignore the sat nav, turn left and go right around on the bypass. Just put this in the top, let's have a look at it first. It's not the usual one I have, it's got a proper full dome. Hopefully I think this is a better one than the one I usually fit, because then if that ever gets stuck, you can just untwist that. So that's good. That's just the classic. Yeah, rod's rotted straight out the back of that, look. It's corroded straight away. So, definitely needs a new one. And the question is now, A, will this be long enough? And B, can we get it out? Without creasing the liner. Bolted on. Oh, we've got a couple screws there. I was going to say, it's the first time ever that I've come across a basin that's actually attached with bolts. Saying that them screws aren't very tight. That screw's a bit better, but they aren't holding anything. Yeah, lovely. I think what we'll do. Some soap on there. There we go. It's a bit better. And this way, the basin's still supported by the pedestal, although you've got to be careful because you can chip the pedestal if you're working like this. But to be honest, even if you do, once it's back in position, provided it was installed already correctly, you're not going to see it unless you really break it. But there we go, not even got wet yet. Unscrew that, nice hand tight install. Silicone, you can tell. Yeah, bit of silicone. This is what the fault is. You see this bit, and that's the other half of it. Here we go. So this would have been in here, and it's just rusted straight out of that. So rather than do this only to come back a few years later to do it again, because this is like a weak point of this design. You see how that's just like, you know, there's no point. You may as well get this, which is completely self-sufficient. Can be serviced from the top. This entire assembly can be unscrewed, like though. So if we had any problems with it, we could unscrew this part and just put in a new, this is the clicker, and just put in a new one. Guess not to over tighten these though, because they do jam sometimes in the actual part, but that design is superior to that. It should be just about long enough as well. I don't know. We'll see. Take the factory rubbers and throw them in the bin. See how the slot is facing the overflow? That's what you want. Just thought I'd point that out. This is why it's so useful if the customer sends you an image, because it means I was able to pick this up preemptively and just swap it over straight away in one go. There we go. That's that. Moment of truth though. Will the trap go back on? Ooh, oh. It's not going to reach. It's going to reach. Yeah, no. It's not going to reach. Fortunately, we can get a socket and a little bit of pipe and just extend that up. Saying that, yeah, now we will have to be right back. Love that tool, it cuts beautiful edge every time. No dust, no nothing. This stuff eats lino for breakfast, it really does. Alright, that's the most photogenic side, so that's where we'll leave it. Don't get this stuff on your gloves because it won't come out. So before I pass out. Right, time to up the ante. Test the overflow, most importantly. Beautiful. So, happy tenant. Very pleased with that clicker waste. The nut was a little bit thin, trying to do it up at the back there, trying to grip it, but the grip seemed to get it okay. And that poly wash, it was like an odd one I'd found. It wasn't like from my big pack of them. And obviously it was a horrible sized one, but it doesn't matter. It went on. And we had to extend the pipe work a little bit, so it was a little, you know, a little bit more technical, but that's what you get spares on the van for. Did ship myself in case I'd run out of sockets, but there we go. And we were literally down there last night, quoting up, so small world. Would have been nice to have done it at the same time, but there we go. So that's achieved. Managed to get the van tidied up. Gonna pitch this old waste and the rubbish, and then I think that'll do for a little Saturday excursion. Oh, I've got to finish off my invoices now. That's the priority. Always one more thing to do. Now I did see a Pimlico plumbing van around here somewhere, but I think he's gone. Could have made it. Might see if that condense job's in tomorrow. That'd be a good thing to get out of the way. And then might make just a short video. If I don't do any work tomorrow, I probably won't make a video, but if I get a short video saying sort of what I've got to do next week, and it'd be interesting to then watch it this time next week and see what I've managed to achieve and what I haven't managed to achieve, and sort of, because part of the reason why I'm making these is just mostly for myself. It's good for client, you know, for the client to see who I am and what I do. Then it's also, I can look at myself, not literally, but like I can look at what I've aimed to do and how it's all gone, and that might be able to tell me something I don't know, give me some insight that I'm not aware of. Oh, come on, put your foot down. Ugh. Was he texting? No, he's just old. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you guys later.